Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors.
Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast with Ali and Dallas. What do we have today?
Today we were talking about the maximum age that you can contribute into super. So
I didn't realise there was a maximum.
Of course you did, Ali. Come on.
I'm trying to play the audience as well, mate.
Yeah. You can't sit here with that silly looking grin on your face looking at me like that and try and play that role. Where this came up was obviously we've got a client, Ali, that her name is actually Jane. Not like
Jane Doe.
So we've got a client named Jane. Now, this is one of those podcasts that will only be fairly brief, but it's really probably only relevant if you are in your early 70s and you are still looking to contribute money into super rather than spending it. So for a lot of people, they're either too young or they might be in their 70s and listening to this and they're mainly just focused on how do I not run out of money and not worried about contributing in. So if either of those two apply, you can sort of skip on to the next one right now. But what we're talking about here is the maximum age you can contribute to super and where the rules of this have changed pretty well this year. There was all sorts of weird stuff that happened from previous years where it was pretty much a free-for-all, other than the normal contribution limits up until 65, and then there was a work test that you had to meet, and unfortunately it's one of those things where I learned all about the work test for different clients and now it's all been thrown out. So all of that space in my brain that understood work tests and all the rest of it is useless.
Anything that involves superannuation, the rules change every single year.
Yeah, so you go, all that stuff that I knew is now no longer useful. So for this year and for 2022, 23 and moving forward, the rules are the same, which is that there are contribution limits for everyone, which is, how much can you contribute in concessional amounts each year, non-concessional amounts, all the rest of that. I'm not talking about that. Those rules are the same for everyone. There's rules around you can only make contributions,
non-concessional
amounts up, while your total super balance is below 1.7, all that sort of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about is what rules are different depending on different ages. So how it works now is that there are pretty much up until the age of 65, everyone can make up to the age of 75. Everyone can make all the same types of contributions. Now, I'm not talking about downsizer contributions. So downsizer contributions from the sale of your family home. That's a completely separate topic, and I would actually think we should probably just do a separate podcast about that, which we might have already done. But downsizer contributions are a weird little world of their own. So what I'm talking about here is all your personal contributions, employer contributions, all that kind of thing. So up until the age of 75, all contributions can be accepted. Now, from 75 years or older, your super fund can only accept what they call mandated employer contributions. So if you are employed after the age of 75, you can still receive your standard employer contribution. Your super guarantee, your 10.5, which is going up to 11%, that amount. But you can't do anything else. So you can't salary sacrifice. You can't make a personal non-concessional contribution. You can't make a personal concessional contribution. So you're very limited at that point in time. Now, that's kind of where we've been looking at this with a client just recently around over that last few years leading up to her getting to 75, trying to use up limits as much as possible to get as much money as possible into that superannuation environment. Purely from getting it into that tax effective superannuation and pension accounts within there. The other thing so the answer there of your maximum age that you contribute into super is basically 75. Now, there's a weird little wrinkle on this that we were just discussing this morning, which is worth noting, is that, so you turn 75, the actual date at which you can put your last contribution in, and we have just done the paperwork for a client for this morning, is that
And what's the date today? It's the
26th.
26th.
So you're allowed to put a contribution in up to 28 days after the end of the month in which the member turns 75 years old. So basically, in this example, we've got the client, she turned 75 last month.
Yep.
You get to the end of that month, the clock starts. You've got 28 days from the end of that month in which to put the contribution in. So if you have a birthday at the start of the month, you could have, say, 7 weeks after you turn 75 in which to put money into super. So we've had to race around this morning and organise paperwork and do all the rest of it because we were had some IT difficulties getting stuff signed. So the point of this, I guess, where I raise this is to know that you've probably got another couple of months or another month or two after you turn 75, but for the sanity of your financial advisor and for their mental health, if you do it before then, it's just easier because you don't have to have those headaches.
Try and get it done as early in that financial year as possible.
So that's basically the rules are that below 75, you're bound by the normal contribution limits. Above 75, you can really only receive those mandated employer contributions, which is your superannuation guarantee from an employer. That's that extra little wrinkle. So, as I said at the start of this, I did warn people that if you're 57 and you're just trying to save money for retirement, you're probably listening to this going, this is the most boring podcast. But you should have skipped on 5 minutes ago.
Revisit it in 10 years. Oh, actually, the rules have probably changed. Don't come back to it.
But if you are talking to someone who's 74, you will sound like a genius because you'll go, well, actually, it's not when you turn 70. Well, actually, it's 28 days after the month in which you have your 75th birthday. So
you sound like you know everything about superannuation.
Yeah, I don't. These are the sorts of rules where I don't really understand what was meant to be achieved by adding that extra wrinkle into the legislation.
I'll tell you what, they predicted exactly our situation now. They're going to need that extra 28 days.
Maybe that was the theory is that some of their clients,
particularly I guess if you're 75, there
might be some IT difficulties, and then we've got IT difficulties getting stuff signed and out and back and to them and all the rest of it. So they go, right, let's add an extra month on, just make it a bit easier. So but no, those are the rules. So if you are in your early 70s or you know someone who's in their early 70s, that's just an interesting thing to bear in mind as part of your financial planning.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.